if the thorns did not hurt. Chapter 1. The Garden. Lily lived in a small village. The village was surrounded by green hills and clear rivers. There were not many people in the village, but everyone knew each other. Lily was a kind and quiet girl. She lived with her grandmother in a little house with a big garden. The garden was beautiful. It was full of flowers, roses, daisies, tulips, and many more. Lily loved to spend time in the garden. She watered the plants every morning and talked to them. "You are so pretty," she would say. "You make the world bright and colorful." Lily's favorite flowers were the roses. She loved their sweet smell and their soft petals. But the roses also had thorns. The thorns were sharp and could hurt if you were not careful. Lily always tried to be careful, but sometimes the thorns still pricked her fingers. One day, as Lily was watering the roses, she thought, what if the thorns did not hurt? Would the roses still be as beautiful? She did not know the answer, but she kept thinking about it as she worked in the garden. Chapter 2. A Wish in the Night. That night, as Lily lay in bed, she looked out the window at the stars. The night was quiet and the moon was bright. Lily made a wish. She wished that the thorns on the roses would not hurt anymore. The next morning, Lily woke up early. She ran to the garden to see if anything had changed. To her surprise, the thorns on the roses were still there, but when she touched them, they did not hurt. She was amazed. Her wish had come true. Lily was happy. Now she could touch the roses without fear. She spent hours in the garden, touching the roses and smelling their sweet scent. The thorns were no longer a problem. Everything seemed perfect. Chapter 3. The Village. As the days passed, Lily began to notice something strange. The other flowers in the garden were not as bright as before. The daisies looked sad, and the tulips did not open fully. Even the sunflowers, which always faced the sun, were drooping. Lily was worried. She did not understand what was happening. She talked to her grandmother about it. "Grandma, the flowers are not happy," she said. Her grandmother smiled and said, "Sometimes when we change one thing, it affects everything else." Lily did not understand. She thought about the roses. They were still beautiful, but now the other flowers were not. Was it because of her wish? Chapter 4. The Visit. One day, a traveler came to the village. He was an old man with kind eyes and a gentle smile. He carried a small bag and walked with a cane. The villagers welcomed him and offered him food and a place to rest. The traveler heard about Lily's beautiful garden and asked if he could visit. Lily was happy to show him her garden. She took him to see the roses and told him about her wish. The traveler listened carefully. He looked at the roses and then at the other flowers. After a while, he spoke. "Everything in nature has a purpose," he said. "The thorns protect the roses. They are part of what makes the roses strong. When you took away their power to hurt, you changed the balance of the garden." Lily was confused. "But I just wanted to touch the roses without getting hurt," she said. "I understand," the traveler said gently. "But sometimes the things that hurt us also protect us. The thorns are there for a reason. Without them, the roses are not the same, and neither is the garden." Chapter 5. The Lesson. Lily thought about what the traveler said. She realized that her wish had changed the garden, and not for the better. The roses were beautiful, but the other flowers were suffering. She did not want that. That night, Lily made another wish. She wished that the thorns on the roses would go back to normal. She wanted the garden to be healthy and happy again. The next morning, Lily went to the garden. She touched the roses, and this time, the thorns pricked her fingers. It hurt a little, but Lily did not mind. She was glad that everything was back to normal. The other flowers in the garden slowly began to recover. The daisies looked bright again. The tulips opened fully, and the sunflowers stood tall. The garden was alive and beautiful, just like before. Lily learned an important lesson. She learned that sometimes things that seem bad, like thorns, have a purpose. They can protect us and keep everything in balance. She also learned that it is important to appreciate things as they are, even if they are not perfect. Chapter 6. A New Day. The days passed, and Lily continued to care for her garden. She was more careful now, but she was no longer afraid of the thorns. She understood that they were part of what made the roses special. Lily also became more aware of the other flowers in the garden. She gave them extra care and attention. The garden was more beautiful than ever, with every flower in harmony. The traveler stayed in the village for a while, and Lily often talked to him. He told her stories about his travels and the things he had learned. Lily listened and learned more about the world beyond her village. As time went on, Lily's garden became famous. People from other villages came to see it. They admired the roses, the daisies, the tulips, and all the other flowers. They also admired Lily, who had created such a wonderful place. Lily was happy. She had learned to appreciate the beauty of the garden and the lessons it taught her. She knew that life, like her garden, was full of thorns, but those thorns were important. They helped her grow, just like the roses. Chapter 7. The Farewell. One day, the traveler told Lily that he had to leave. He had more places to visit and more people to meet. Lily was sad, but she understood. "Thank you for everything," she said. "I will never forget what you taught me." The traveler smiled. "And I will never forget your garden," he said. "Remember, Lily, the thorns are part of what makes life beautiful. Take care of your garden, and it will take care of you." Lily nodded. She watched as the traveler walked away, disappearing over the hills. She felt a little sad, but she also felt strong. She knew that she could take care of her garden, no matter what. Chapter 8. The Future. As the years passed, Lily's garden grew even more beautiful. She continued to care for it with love and patience. She shared the lessons she had learned with others, teaching them about the importance of balance and harmony. Lily also continued to grow. She became wiser and more understanding. She knew that life was not always easy, but she was ready to face any challenges that came her way. She knew that, like the thorns on the roses, those challenges would help her grow. Lily's garden became a place of peace and beauty, not just for her, but for everyone who visited. People came from far and wide to see it, to learn from it, and to find comfort in its beauty. And so, Lily lived a happy and fulfilled life, surrounded by the flowers she loved, and always remembering the important lessons she had learned. If the thorns did not hurt, the roses would not be as beautiful. The end.